Hi, and welcome to Sweet Bee. We're here at Professor B Studios in downtown Winston-Salem, and this is our show highlighting local artists in and around our area. We kind of have this platform to not just share what's going on in and around us, but also to give artists another place to come and kind of show what they can do. So we get a little behind the scenes, get to know them a little bit, but then also watch a couple of songs from them. Tonight we have someone who's no stranger to the studio. We've worked on a couple of projects together, and I've gotten to know him pretty well. I think I've said this about other people, and the more I say it, the more I realize just kind of how fortunate we are to have this circle of people surrounding the studio. He's just a genuinely nice and good person. You have a really hard time not being in a good mood around him. And when he starts doing music, all of that just exponentially grows. So if you'd please welcome to the show, Colin Allured. Colin, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I've been waiting for this day for a while. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to set this up just a little bit. We met kind of early on, and then have worked on two very different projects from one another together. But in the span of that, it went from more of just like a client thing to like, I'm a fan, dude. Like, I wanted to come and see you and come check out what you're doing and kind of get my kid out to see what you're doing and that kind of thing. So if you had to give, kind of as we set this up, if you had to give the short version of like what it is you do, like when somebody comes to one of your shows, what can they expect to experience? How would you pitch that?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. I would say, that for me, music is that uplifting elixir that can lighten your heart, lighten your mood, do more profound emotions. It can do that in a cathartic way. So for me, yeah, music is like medicine. It's like healing. Yeah. It's like wine. It's like it's all it makes life worth living, and it brings out the sweetness in life and the sweetness and the connection with people. Like, I love going to a venue, and as you're loading in your gear and you feel the disparate energy of all the strangers there.
Yeah.
And then you play a few songs, and then that disparate energy turns into something that we're all sharing together, and you can see people's faces relax, and they smile and their hearts open, and then you feel like we're all one, And so for me, music paves over our separateness and makes us feel together.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of an elixir like that. That kind of, it's a word that doesn't get used very often in relation to music and stuff. So from classic rock covers to classical guitar with foot drums, which I want to talk about some, the range of what you play is really broad. Where does the breadth of your library come from? Like, what, and not specific like band influences, but like what happened growing up to produce someone who has that wide of a scope musically?
Well, I think coming from a lineage of musicians by trade.
How do you mean?
My dad was a classical conductor, a classical singer. He was an all-around respected classical musician in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and he was also a rock and roll musician. And then my grandfather was a classical organist and conductor. And so I think, being steeped in European classical music, which is very rapidly changing.
Yeah.
It's, it's complex. You have to be devoted to it to be able to play it.
What, is there a specific region, more Italian, more German?
No, I mean, just studying classical guitar where you're playing, Bach, you're playing Italian music, you're playing Renaissance music. But European classical music, as sort of a background, I think creates a taste in one's mind for variety, for complexity, for subtlety. And so I think it was always, that sort of like having a very curious and hungry musical mind, coming from my upbringing, that sort of meeting our modern world where we can hear every music from every country you know, at
Did you
every
start
time.
playing young as well?
I did. I started seriously studying classical guitar when
me.
I was 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had to beg my dad to teach me to play, and finally
Yeah.
he was like, all right, I'm going to show you your chords, and he even showed me a Bach prelude on the guitar where he just showed
Really?
me the chord shapes and showed me the finger picking pattern. And so each week he'd teach me a new chord of the Bach prelude.
Yeah.
To where finally I could play it.
Oh, that's cool.
And he taught me the blues, and we listened to a lot of Beatles and, you know, cool 60s and 70s music. And even just, you know, coming through the Beatles, how like in albums like Revolver, there's like an Indian classical track, and then there's a beautiful ballad, and then there's something that's like psychedelic, you know. And so I really like when an album plays and you're like, wow, each song is surprising, you know, in terms of the style. And I never felt limited to one style. You know, I feel like style is almost the clothes you wear, and you can change your clothes and enjoy how you look at any time.
I like it. I like that a lot. So, is that the same source for your love for what we would consider to be more exotic instruments? Because I know you play things beyond guitar and drums, obviously, and people who have seen you may know that, or maybe depending on the show have missed that. But your stringed instrument diversification is pretty good, man. Like, what else do you play, and are there any that you enjoy more than others?
Well, there's two things that I've studied deeply, which is North Indian classical music, and there is a teacher named Gaurang Doshi who teaches the sarod, which is in the family with the sitar. You know, so people that are familiar with Ravi Shankar and Indian classical music, it's of that style. And it's very deep spiritual music. It's complex to study. You really kind of have to be an insider and be taught how it works, you know. And so that's been a big inspiration. And then I worked with a percussionist that suggested to me West African string music. And so he said, check out Ali Farka Touré, check out Tumani Jabate. And so listening to the West African harp music of the Kora and the Kamali Ngoni. And so I ended up playing a Kamali Ngoni, which is a purely pentatonic harp made from a gourd and a long wooden piece with a fishing line.
And it's got a percussive piece that a lot of people would consider to be like something wrong with the instrument if they didn't know what was going on. What's the purpose, I guess? What role does that play?
Yeah, it's just like you said, it's a very percussive instrument, and you play like you do a palm muting technique, which is very drum-like and buzzy and percussive, and so yeah, West African string music, Indian classical music. Those are things that, in addition to European classical music, things that I draw like deep inspiration from. And I think rock and roll musicians, you know, since George Harrison and since the Beatles, have always been, you know, we as human beings love what's exotic. You know, it's like you hear somebody with an accent and you're like fascinated by everything they say. You know, so as a musician, for me, it reinvigorates music when I can study another culture. It's like, wow, like Indian music is upside down from our music. You know, and as to where Western classical music grew in like counterpoint and polyphony and harmony. You know, Indian classical music has no harmony. It's all over the drone, but it's immensely complex in its melodic variation and rhythmic variation. And so studying that, you know, it just creates new synapses in my brains when I go to write a song, or, you know, go to use a scale that I might not have used in a song. You know, it's really inspiring.
See, I want to get down the rabbit trail of 12-tone scales and melodies and all this other kind of stuff that unfortunately we don't have time for. I want to circle back around to something that I mentioned a little bit ago, though, because I want to highlight this just a little bit, because it's something from what I've seen of musicians in the area, something very unique to you, and that's the foot drumming. So, kind of, what is it? How in the world do you do it? How do you do it? Not just how does anybody do it? Because I know there's several different ways for it to be done. And kind of how did that begin to work its way into your workflow? Like, what's the reason why? Because if I know you at all, I know that it wasn't just a showy piece. There's something more to it.
Yeah, no, it's a real love. You know, it's a real like just sort of another like aspect of devotion to music. You know, it's not a gimmicky thing for me. It's part of what I love about music is the boom and the pop and the crash of the drum kit as it relates to the guitar, and my dad actually was playing bass drum and snare drum, and he would pivot for a crash cymbal, and then he'd play bass guitar and sing.
So he was playing all three.
Yeah, he
with
was
his
doing,
feet?
and it's mainly two sounds: boom, cop, boom,
Right.
boom, cop. And then I saw this guy called Suitcase Junket who was actually playing the hi hat with his right toe,
Hmm.
and the bass drum with his right heel. And so that was the thing that opened up
Gotcha.
the world for me. So then I was able to think, okay, if you use the heel instead of just the toes, that's kind of like tap dancers and flamenco dancers play intricate
Were you a
rhythms.
dancer before that?
No, not
Okay.
formally.
All
I
right.
mean, just for fun. And but yeah, and I realized, yeah, when tap dancers and flamenco dancers are dancing, the heels are the bassier sound, and the toes are a more treble sound. And so I wanted to relate that to what I saw from, how he could keep the hi-hat going while doing the bass drum with the same foot.
Yeah.
And then I added to what he was doing, to where I added a double bass drum pedal to where my left heel could also do the bass drum. And so you got two bass drums on the heels, then you have snare drum on the left toe, hi-hat going on the right toe, and then you can pivot for the crash. And so you have all the essentials of bass and drums, but then you have the language of double bass drumming,
Yeah.
which is traditionally like heavy metal,
Right.
and harder music, but I like to put things out of context,
Sure.
so to use like a double bass drum in a way that's kind of like just fun and like soothing and danceable, and it actually really integrates with the techniques. Like I can play certain rhythms a lot longer if I use both heels, and just the way that it works out. And so yeah, it's just been like a fascinating, like fun field of study, and it's crazy. It's really hard. It takes a lot to set it up, but we're not doing this because it's easy, or,
right?
We're doing it because we are fanatically in love with
yeah.
it.
So you recently did a larger show, not just a gig at a venue, but like a larger show. How and I kind of want this to be two parts, and this is kind of going to be, we're going to take this into kind of wrapping up the interview part because we definitely want to hear you play. So kind of a two-parted question. Can you talk a little bit, because I know you don't always come with this exact same setup, so kind of about the scalability and applications of how you approach the things that you do, but then also the diversity in the shows that you play, because I've seen you at, Tanglewood Pizza Company, but then the next weekend you were at a wedding or something, and then I see that you're at a theater doing a thing that's kind of just you. And so I know that there's things there that, even in the time I've seen you, I haven't seen yet. And so could you just kind of talk a little bit about those two things and kind of put those pieces together?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, what I did, all these years is playing just guitar and singing, and had I not done that for 27 years, then, it would be a lot harder to add the drums to that, but because playing the guitar and singing has been done for so many years, adding the drums is fun and exciting for me. But yeah, some gigs, depending on the size of the place or the circumstance, I'll just play guitar and sing.
Yeah.
And maybe do some looping, and then I'm bringing out the drums a lot more this year. And but I had a show last year at the Crown of the Carolina Theater, which I have a lot of footage from on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
That was presenting 95% original music, and presenting the foot drums as sort of my signature sound.
Yeah.
And presenting the Kamali and Ngoni, some West African.
I was going to say you mixed some of that with some of the classical pieces as well, didn't you?
Yeah, and classical guitar and all those different things in one show. And so yeah, I think when I play a brewery or a winery, I like to balance my cover songs and my originals, and because it's really fun that people can participate with you.
Right.
Like, oh, I know the song, I can sing along.
Yeah.
And it brings about that togetherness,
Yeah.
And it's where when you're playing a concert, people are more coming there to like hear, like a composer, they're coming to hear the new symphony or the new string quartet. They're more open to just receive, and even then I'll play a cover song or two to get people involved and engaged. But yeah, I mean, I think the main difference between is when I play a concert versus a brewery or a winery or a party is that I do balance my covers and originals. And but people are really generous in terms of buying my CD, Always Music, and people have taken those songs into their lives, and so when people request original songs and sing along with the original
Yeah,
songs. You know,
that's
as a
cool.
songwriter, that makes you even more happy.
Without
you
a
know.
doubt. I know a few of them have made their way into my grilling playlist. It's good,
Nice.
good on the deck music, as everybody's going to find out here in a minute. So I want to kind of start pointing us towards the break and getting us over and let you kind of work your magic up here. But before we do that, can you let everybody know where can they find you online, where can they find you on social media, and what some upcoming shows? Where can they come and see you do what you do? Because after they see what they're about to see, I have a feeling some of them are going to want to.
Yeah, the best place to keep in touch with me is Facebook. I have a personal Facebook page and a band page. Just join both of those, and I'm always making events about where I'm playing, and I'm trying to get better at being Instagrammy. I'm a little bit old school. I mean, I remember I loved the MySpace days. Those were good times. People went and sat on your page and listened to your music and then commented on it. It was amazing.
That was it.
And so yeah, Facebook mainly. Getting better at Instagram. I'm going to be updating my website soon with footage.
And what's that address?
That's my name.com, so it's colinallured.com.
Awesome.
And but yeah, I would say mainly Facebook, and then like this week is a good example. On July 4th, I'll be playing at Raffledini Vineyards, which is a beautiful vineyard, so I get to set up my foot drums.
Yeah.
And if the weather's nice, look out at the vista and the mountains and the valley, and like play for 4 hours. And then Friday I'll be in Kernersville at the Brewer's Kettle. Saturday I'll be in Clemens at Tanglewood Pizza Company. Saturday I'm playing a private party. And so yeah, many of the local wineries and breweries. I love playing parties. I love playing weddings and being a part of people's moments in their lives like that. And then I also do usually 1 or 2 special events each year where I just promote it. And you know, this is going to be an original music event.
Okay.
And maybe maybe we'll make a CD out of it or some video out of it and kind of get people pumped up about a special thing. But you know, other than that, I'm playing every weekend, so come hang out.
Yeah, no kidding. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for hanging out with us. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes with Colin up on the stage, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Sweet Bee live show. If you are a musician and you want to make a CD, or you want to make a concert, or you want to do something fun and creative and musical, this is the space right here. It is like a jungle gym playground. It is so fun in here. Come hang out and do something cool. Happy to be in this wonderful spot, Sweet Bee Live. This song I wrote right here, this is called It's Party Time, Baby. It's based around the Zydeco Boogaloo beat, which goes like this. So yeah, that's all you need to know. It's party time. It's party time, baby. The joint is getting funky, we're doing it right. It's party time, baby. The vibe is getting higher than the certain light. It's party time, baby. The joint is getting funky, we're doing it right. It's party time, baby. The vibe is getting higher than the certain light. Every time that I see you, I know it's all good. Every time that I see you, I feel like I should. You're somewhere in my soul tonight. You're somewhere in my soul. You're somewhere in my soul tonight. Everywhere I go, it shows. You're somewhere in my soul tonight. You're somewhere in my soul. You're somewhere in my soul tonight. Everywhere I go, it shows. It's party time, baby. Joint is getting funky, we're doing it right. It's party time, baby. The vibe is getting higher than the certain light. It's party time, baby. party time, baby. The vibe is getting higher than the satellite. We're gonna do it right. We're gonna do it all night. We're gonna do it right. Every time that I'm near you, I feel so good inside. Every time that I'm with you, my feelings come alive. You're somewhere in my soul tonight. You're somewhere in my soul. You're somewhere in my soul tonight. Everywhere I go, it shows. You're somewhere in my soul tonight. You're somewhere in my soul. You're somewhere in my soul tonight. Everywhere I go, it shows. Even in the heavy snows, even in deep ripples, even with the yellow rose, even when the wind it blows. Everywhere I go, it shows. It's party time, baby. The joint is getting funky, we're doing it right. It's party time, baby. The vibe is getting higher than a satellite. It's party time, baby. The joint is getting funky, we're doing it right. It's party time, baby. The vibe is getting higher than a satellite. Oh, 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 oh. We're gonna do it right. It's party time. We're gonna do it tonight. It's party time, baby. Right here tonight, y'all. Sweet Bee Live. All right. So this next song is based around the other Zydeco beat, which is a straight beat. And it was inspired by my lady. This is for you. This is called In a World. I'm so lucky to be a man in the world with a woman like you. I'm so lucky to be a man in the world with a woman like you. In the world with a woman like you. Oh, oh. I'm so lucky to be a man So lucky to be a man in the world with a woman like you. So lucky to be a man in a world with a woman like you. In a world with a woman like you. Hey, if I was born on another planet, hey, if you were missing, I could not stand it. So I won't take this thing for granted, and I want you to know you are the woman that I always wanted. I'm so lucky to be a man in a world with a woman like you. So lucky to be a man in a world with a woman like you. In a world with a woman like you. You make me lucky to be a man. You make me lucky to be a man. Listen, said I don't wanna live in the world without you. I don't wanna die in the world without you. Don't wanna be reborn in a world without you. I'd be so forlorn in the world without you. Said I don't wanna live in the world without you. I don't wanna die in the world without you. Don't wanna be reborn in the world without you. I'll be so forlorn in the world without you, baby, now, yeah. You made me lucky to be a man.
Man.
Thank you.
So first of all, thank you again for being here. It's fantastic to have you in the studio again, but on the show finally. Really brief side story. While you were playing that, it reminded me of the last time that you and your lady were here, and you were playing, and there was this like, we just need a break for a second. And you guys just went off into a corner and just jammed for a little bit. And as you're sitting here playing, and we're sitting here, you know, we got the team behind the cameras and everything else, I was like, I just need this, like, I need this soundtrack just at the studio, all that, like, having a rough time with an edit. Colin, play something. Like, it's just that thing that's so good. It's just such good feeling stuff. The vibes you put off aren't from a process thing or anything. It's so authentic, and I think that's what makes it count so much. So thank you for sharing what you do with everybody. One more time before we end, we tell everybody where they can find you online, where they can see you live coming up.
Yep. All the
And
breweries and
that
the
mic,
wineries.
your vocal mic.
Yes, the breweries, the wineries in the area, Raffledini Thursday, Brewer's Kettle in Kernersville on Friday, Tanglewood Pizza Company on Saturday, and a private party on Sunday. Don't go unless you know them. And join me on Facebook, my personal page, and the band page, and the Instagram, and MySpace.
Awesome.
Just kidding.
All right, so go follow him all those places. Thank you again for being on the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Team, thank you for everything you guys do behind the scenes. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks so much.